Pregame.com.
St. Louis Rams at the Green Bay Packers. This is Stephen Nover's Video Best Bet. I'm Marco D'Angelo, your host. I'm going to throw it right over to Stephen to get this thing started. We're looking at the Rams. They're minus 14.5, or excuse me, Green Bay's minus 14.5. Stephen, your Video Best Bet, who do you like? And you're going for 4 in a row. Congratulations on those Video Best Bets.
Oh, thanks, Marco. I'm going to risk that streak by laying the 14.5 with Green Bay.
Okay, I want to hear the reasons. I'm going to do some counter punching, but I think I'm going to be punching the other side here a little bit.
What is unique about the NFL this year? It's totally different than in past years. Old trends are not holding up because of this lockout. Teams are ahead of other teams. One thing, now that we're into week 6, that we can already take back from this, the good teams are good teams, they stay good. The bad teams are bad teams, they stay bad.
Well, I'll jump in on that, and that is a point that I will agree with you. And on several shows and podcasts that I've done this year at the beginning of the season, I thought because of the lockout, we were going to have, you're not going to have that parity like we normally have up and down in the NFL, where you were going to have the upper tier of haves and then the bottom tier of have-nots. There was going to be, two groups, not as many teams in that middle section as we normally would have. And that is something that's starting to play out with the way a lot of these teams are playing through the first, 4 or 5 games of the season. What, you're bucking, there's a big historical trend that you're bucking in this game.
You can come up with trends, and I can counter with trends. For instance, Mike McCarthy, since he's been the Packers head coach, he's been a double-digit favorite 12 times. He's covered 9 out of the 12. I look at trends, and sometimes they can factor if I think they have relevancy. To me, this is really comes down to matchup, Marco. The Rams were down their 2 best cornerbacks. Then during their bye week, they suffered another injury to a cornerback. They lost Bradley Fletcher. Now they are down their 3 best cornerbacks. They weren't that strong to start with. Who is going to be one of their starting cornerbacks now? Al Harris, former Green Bay Packer. Al Harris was let go by Green Bay because he's now 36 years old. He cannot run. He never could run. He has a bad knee. He wasn't even passing physicals. Where's Green Bay most strong at? They're leading the NFL in scoring. They have an explosive offense. Aaron Rodgers, you can argue, is the best quarterback. He's playing at a very high level. They have the deepest set of wide receivers. Donald Driver is their number 5 wide receiver. He would be the Rams' best wide receiver, certainly their most reliable wide receiver. The Rams have probably the worst set of wide receivers in the NFL since Amendola is out for the season. Their offensive line, very disappointing. It's underachieved. Bradford's been sacked 18 times. They have no passing attack. They cannot trade points with Green Bay. Rodgers is going to light up that Rams secondary. He put up a ton of points, 40-some on Denver 2 weeks ago in their last home game. The Rams cannot keep up. Their hope, Marco, if they want to stay within this number, and I realize that's not their game plan. Let's stay within this number. Their game plan is obviously to win, but their best opportunity would be to run Steven Jackson 35 times, control clock. In that respect, maybe this would be a high number for the Packers to buck, although I see them scoring at will here. They're not going to do that with Josh McDaniels, their offensive coordinator. That's not his approach. His approach is vertical passing, downfield, attack. He does not have the offense to do that. He has the quarterback with Sam Bradford. He does not have the wide receivers. He does not have the protection with the offensive line. Bradford is hearing steps. The poor guy, as I mentioned, sacked 18 times, hit numerous other times. He's hearing footsteps. His passing accuracy, his passer quarterback rating, way down from his rookie year.
Everything you say I can't argue with. I mean, on paper, this looks like an absolute total mismatch blowout. You know the NFL, though.
The old NFL.
The old NFL, but one thing here is, and it's one of the key points to me, is St. Louis is coming off the bye week. They're an 0-4 team coming off the bye week. I'm a big proponent to teams that go into the bye. When they go into the bye bad, they come out of the bye good, and vice versa if they were on a roll, that they're going to use those 2 weeks to, game plan, prepare? Or are you concerned at all the fact that Green Bay had, a big game last week against Atlanta? Sunday Night Football, it was playoff revenge for Atlanta. Green Bay came out first half, Atlanta, the crowd was in the game. They came out supercharged, and, Atlanta had I think it was a 14-0 or
14-0 lead, yes.
Yeah, and then Green Bay came back second half like they do. And I know that if Green Bay has their helmets screwed on straight and one, have that killer instinct, absolutely, I agree with you. But I really just I can't see them with their foot on the gas, again this week. Well, that's the problem for me.
You're right. It's not a good situational spot for Green Bay. That was a big game for them, a marquee game. Sunday night, a real challenge, going to Atlanta, beating a revengeful-minded Falcons team the way they did. It was a very satisfying win. They didn't necessarily play that well, and they haven't played well all year to their capability. They have yet to put both offensively and defensively an A game together.
Which is kind of scary.
It is scary, and they also have the Vikings next week, and they hate the Vikings more than the Bears and the Lions, believe it or not. So, no, it's not a good situational spot, but even without putting together a complete A game with both offense and defense, they are 5-0, 4-1 against the spread. The one non-spread cover backdoored by Carolina in week 2, and they should have covered that. They came back to cover that number. Their offense was up to their A game a couple weeks ago at Denver. They put up close to 50 points on them. But the matchup is so lopsided in Green Bay's favor. Their strengths go against St. Louis's weakness. Now you're saying, hey, it's a bye. The Rams will be well prepared. They can be as prepared as all they want, but they can't compete on a talent basis, and they're on the road. It's an off surface for them. And they got weaker during the bye, Marco, losing Fletcher. Now they're decimated at cornerback. It's such a key position with today's passing in the NFL. So I think, you come up with these bye week things. I think you have to take them on an individual, case-by-case basis. And in my view, it's not going to help them. This is a very bad team and going into a very bad matchup for them.
Well, it's hard to argue with you. You've hit 3 in a row on these best bets. You're going for 4 in a row. What's your projected score?
I would call it Green Bay 38, and I may be generous with that point total, 38-13.
38-13. I'm going to go ahead for the sake of argument here, and I'm going to accept the challenge for a lunch. It's your best bet. I'm going to take a page out of your playbook because, everybody knows, we made a lunch bet last week, and, Stephen alluded that, Carolina, they're going to do backdoor. They're the backdoor experts, and Stephen seems to know a lot about the backdoor, so I'm going to try it. You like it so much. I'm going to take St. Louis plus the points, backdoor cover for the lunch.
Well, it's very sporting of you to try to fade my video best bet when I'm on a hot streak, so I will accept your challenge of a lunch here. And as far as getting a backdoor with Carolina, they are the backdoor kings. That was live with Cam Newton. It's not so live with the Rams, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. I want to find out what all the buzz is about with the backdoor. So there you have it. It is Stephen's video best bet. He's got Green Bay. I have just a small opinion on St. Louis. We're betting a lunch on it. Find out next week who's right. We're going to be back. Another NFL game. We're going to take, you put this one on the list. The Philadelphia Eagles, you're trying to torment me. Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Redskins up next.